Hi everybody, welcome to another episode of Sneak in Some Science with Miss Mercury. On today's episode, we're going to be looking at something that was originally talked about in the last episode, kitchen chemistry. I got really inspired after hearing Finn last week talk about how he would make these wonderful science experiments, really, in the kitchen. He said he made things like cookies and bread and pretzels. Well, I just love kitchen chemistry. Don't be afraid of those words, kitchen chemistry. I mean, kitchen is a great place, right? We get all of our food and snacks and meals and we make everything up. We might have some great conversations with our families in there. So that seems like an okay word. The word chemistry might be a little intimidating or scary, but that's because we might not know what that word means. So chemistry is just really when we look at materials and mixtures, and we'll talk about the characteristics of them. We might combine them or separate them. We could cook with them. We could create with them. And so chemistry, when you really look at it, is not always about these really scary chemicals that you might see in some movies and cartoons. It's actually just as basic as having some cooking supplies and putting that apron on and hopping to it to make something delicious. Cooks and chefs and bakers galore are fantastic science enthusiasts. So on today's episode, we're going to be doing some kitchen chemistry. A warning before we begin. Make sure anytime that you're doing something in the kitchen, you have adult supervision. There's a lot of scary hot spots in our kitchen. We want to make sure that everyone is always safe. So let's start with the word of the day. Today's word is going to be two words, materials and mixtures. First, let's look at some of the materials that I needed to do my kitchen chemistry and to mix my materials together. The first thing that I needed was a bowl, because I'm going to be putting in different kinds of ingredients into my bowl. The next thing I need are my measuring equipment. Now, if I was in a lab or doing an investigation in my science classroom, I might be using things like rulers, or I might be using test tubes or beakers and things like that, maybe timers. I might use a balance scale. I might use a hand lens or a microscope. But in the kitchen, when we measure things, we might be measuring solids or liquids. When we measure our liquids, we use, you know what this is, yep, a measuring cup. And when we measure our solids, we use these measuring cups. We also need to have something to mix our materials with, and we also might need separate bowls, perhaps. Now, in a science experiment, we might call this the procedure, or the steps that we're going to take to complete our investigation. Well, when we follow a recipe and we're doing kitchen chemistry, we actually can use a cookbook. I'm going to be following a recipe that I found online, and I am going to be making banana bread. I sure do love banana bread. And to get started, we're going to put all of our dry materials into the bowl. This is our first mixture. Included in this bowl are yummy ingredients like flour, sugar, a pinch of salt, and I always like to add a little bit of cinnamon. And then we're going to stir our mixture. Right now, can you tell me this mixture in front of us? Is it a solid, a liquid, or a gas? If you guessed solid, you're correct. I'm now going to measure out my water, which is a liquid. Can you look at the measuring cup and tell me how much water I'm going to be putting into my dry or solid mixture? If you said 1 cup, you're correct. 1 cup is also 8 ounces. I'll pour that liquid into the solid. My next step is to add 2 eggs and 2 bananas. Eggs are pretty cool. To crack the egg, I'll tap it on the side of the bowl and carefully allow the inside material to go into my mixture bowl. Is the outside of the egg a solid or a liquid? Is the inside of the egg a solid or a liquid? Next, I'm going to take my spoon and stir all of my materials together. The dry materials, the water, the eggs, the bananas. And I'm going to keep on stirring until all of those bumps go away. The goal is to make the characteristic of the new mixture to be nice and smooth. Our next step is to take our new mixture, which has all of the solid and liquid ingredients combined, and pour it into a baking dish. Then we're going to put it in the oven at 325 degrees for 45 minutes. Make sure that you follow your recipe for the right oven temperature and the right amount of time. Can you make an inference as to what will happen next to our liquidy mixture? You're right. After 45 minutes of me patiently waiting, finally I have my result. Delicious, solid banana bread. Voila! And there you have it, our deliciousness on our plate. So it's amazing when we take materials and make them into mixtures, what we can create. I think it's time for a taste test. I have to let you know that I went a little crazy here. I also like chocolate chips. And so I thought that I would add some chocolate chips to my plate and a little sprinkle of cinnamon. Let's have a taste. So good. But there's always something that we want to do after we create our kitchen awesomeness. We like to do a little bit of a conclusion. So when we're finished with making our kitchen creation, I want you to think about that recipe that you just had. Is there anything that you would do to adjust it to make it taste even better? And of course, you can make your own review, or you can ask others around you to try your dish and see how it came out. So I just had a little taste here, and there is something that I think I'd like to change next time. So I know that I cooked it in the oven for 45 minutes, and I feel that with the texture, it's a little dry. It tastes like a little dry, not too dry, but just enough that I'd like to check it at maybe 40 minutes. That's one thing I think I'll do. So I'm gonna check it next time, that recipe. I'm gonna put it in for 40 minutes and then just check on it to see if I think it's almost ready, and I'll use some of those strategies I learned. The other thing I might do is actually put those chocolate chips in the banana bread. That would taste delicious, so maybe I'll try that. The chocolate chips in the banana bread. Another thing I might try to do differently is maybe add another banana. So maybe 3 bananas instead of 2 bananas. It might give it a little bit more of a banana-y flavor, right? Okay, so 3 bananas. So these are my ideas. I can't wait to hear about how you adjust your ideas to your kitchen chemistry. This is going to be a lot of extra banana bread. So what I might just do is pick one that I want to work on, and the next time I go into the kitchen and make this delicious recipe, I'll just change it up just a little bit. Perfect. So I'm going to enjoy this banana. Good. Really good. Wicked good. Yeah, those chips need to go in here. Mmm. Super good. All right, everybody, this is my favorite part of the episode where we phone a science enthusiast. So obviously I'm really excited. We've had such a great episode so far. And so let's see if we can find someone who's just as excited about science as me. So we're gonna randomly call somebody and just ask them some questions about science. All right, let's try it. Let's dial in. Just gonna dial some random numbers here. Hello?
Hello.
Hello. Hi there. Are you a science enthusiast?
Yes, I am.
Excellent. What's your name?
My name is Claire.
Claire. What a beautiful name, Claire. How old are you?
I'm 8 years old.
You're 8 years old. And where do you live?
I live in Frisco, North Carolina.
Frisco, North Carolina. Is that in the Outer Banks?
Yes.
Oh, must be so beautiful this time of year. So Claire, who's 8 years old from Frisco, North Carolina, please tell me, why are you a science enthusiast? What's your favorite part about science? What do you love most?
All things energy.
All things energy. Wow, that's pretty, open-ended. Let's be more specific. Is there a certain kind of energy that you really just love so much?
Food energy.
Food energy. All right. Now we're talking. What's your favorite kind of food energy, Miss Claire?
Candy.
8. I get it. Okay. So candy is your favorite food energy. I'm sure a lot of the people watching this episode right now completely agree with you. So Claire, we just made some banana bread on today's episode, a little kitchen chemistry. Have you baked or cooked anything yourself in the past few days or so?
Yes, I baked chocolate chip cookies.
Chocolate chip cookies. Well, the funny thing actually is that there's chocolate chips, which I kind of don't sort as a candy, but they are made of chocolate. So they're very candy-like to me. That's wonderful to hear. Well, Claire, I am so happy you're a science enthusiast, and I love that you were on the show. I hope that you have a great rest of your day, and don't forget, science every day. Claire, have a great day.
Okay, you too, bye.
Bye. Thanks for joining us on our episode today. I had such a great time doing some kitchen chemistry, talking about materials and mixtures, chatting with our science enthusiast Claire, and of course, being a science enthusiast. I want to share with you one little piece before we head out. I'm sure you've heard of the word kindness before. Let's try to practice a little bit more kindness this week. What are some things that you can do either around your home or around your neighborhood from a safe distance to show your kindness? I think the world needs a little bit of kindness. Okay, maybe a lot of it of kindness right now, but either way, we need it. And I think that you are just the perfect person, the perfect science enthusiast to get the job done. Maybe collaborate with your friends over the phone or some sort of video chat so you can talk about the ways that you can be more kind to the people that are all around you. I am so happy you joined us for today's episode of Sneak in Some Science with Miss Mercury. I'll catch you later. Bye now. So one of the materials that you'll need is do you know what this is? It's a measuring cup. And if we look at let's try this banana. Let's try that again. Let's try this banana bread. You won't pick up. Let's try this banana bread. that in my throat. Need some water. Let's try this banana bread. Didn't even go in my mouth. It's bread, right? You need to actually use a fork. I don't use a fork. Thank you so much for joining us on Sneak in Some. That was a UPS truck. We'll try that again. Water break, water break.